Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing okay. I made a joke post on Tumblr this afternoon that every week I wake up and I'm fighting a losing battle against wanting to make filofax infodumps. I'm not gonna lie, I've been super tired this week, so I kind of just want to do it again. I'm losing the battle this week. I wanted to make the Polaroid or like Instax Fujifilm comparison video, but I did not order more square film. I thought I had some and I didn't, so that's completely my bad. We might have to do that next week. The timing of things is going to start getting a little funny because I'm away next weekend for like 4 or 5, maybe 6 days. And then I'm back for 6 days, and then I'm away again for like another 6 days. So it's like it's getting a bit, I don't know. Hopefully that means though that for those of you who are bored of the filofax stuff, there'll be some other stuff to look at for a couple of weeks. I'll make archive videos while I'm away, which should be nice. I've been feeling kind of uninspired on that front recently, hence the lack of them. I guess because I just sit at my desk all day, it's kind of like, or on the sofa now. I don't always feel very motivated to film the archives. I'm not sure how to re-find the inspiration I felt like when I started. But for the time being, it's been kind of nice to take it easy and to film my filofax infodumps and to catalogue that. I've been enjoying that more, I guess, so I don't think it's abnormal to feel more or less inclined to make it like a certain genre of video, if that makes sense, so I'm not too worried about it. But it will be nice to go somewhere different, somewhere green, and to take some video. I get this thing where I'm like 50-50, a city kid and a countryside kid. And then when I've been in a city or a town for too long, especially somewhere like Reading, which is kind of uninspired, it's an okay place to live, but there's not a lot going on. And there is a lot of greenery, but not like the right kind of greenery. And so when I get to leave Reading and I can go somewhere like the moors or I can go to Wales, I'm like, this is so good. It feels like, not to be cliche, but it does feel very like healing. I always feel so much more grounded when I come back and stuff. Sometimes you just need to be knee deep in grass, you know? And I'm starting to really feel that lately. I'm like really craving that feeling. So anyway, we're back on the info dumps this week just to give myself a mental break and because I enjoy it. A lot of you, to be fair, have said that you also enjoy it, so hopefully that will stay. This week my book is getting kind of chunky again. I don't know how it happened. This is not even that chunky compared to most people, I don't think, but for me it is. And also my pages are folded over, obviously, so each one of my pages is double the thickness that others have. So my books are nowhere near, my filofax, whatever, is nowhere near as thick as other people's. It's a lot less paper generally. It's just all doubled up. But I think I want to put my little archive books together this week. I know I talked about it and introduced the idea last week. You guys were excited. I kind of want to do that this week. I think I feel ready for it, and then it will let me see in a clearer way what I do and don't want to take away with me as well. So that's kind of my thinking. I literally just did that thing where I printed a big batch of pages, so I kind of want to put these away. And this is part of what inspired me to do it this week, is that I found this article called Here's to the Aquapolis, as in like aqua and then like opolis, by Tom Blass, or Blass, B-L-A-S-S. It was on Aeon, I think, and it's about, well, it starts talking about the Swanscombe marshes in Kent, and then it talks about the importance of wetlands for the whole planet, basically. It's really cool. It's a really nice article. I was reading it and I kept reading it and I kept reading it and I was like, oh, this is so good. You know, when you read an article like that, in each paragraph you're like banger after banger. So I wanted to commonplace it for my bog book, which is not exclusively bogs, it's just wetlands and moss. But I wanted to commonplace it, and then it was that thing where I started putting the pages together, started typing them out, like copying and pasting, started doing my highlighting and stuff. And then I was like 6 pages deep and I was like, wait, how long is this article? And it was 10 pages, which is 20 slides. So it's it's quite a long one. But this is why I have a dedicated bog book. And the idea is that as my special interest binders or my Commonplace binders develop and I get more pages for more topics, I can separate things out into bigger sections. So the bog book is dedicated because I imagine it a bit like a field guide that I can take with me places. If I visit a bog, I could take my bog book. And then my Commonplace one is less so because I don't think I would ever be going somewhere necessarily where I need to take a certain section of that, unless, I don't know, I don't think I need to reference it in the same way. It's more that I would just carry the whole thing and carry many topics, but then what I could do is have sections, and then if I ever end up with like too many pages about sleep or horror stuff, then I could always separate out eventually, but that's kind of my thinking for now. The bog book is definitely accumulating a lot faster than I expected, so I kind of want to sort that out. So this is 10 pages. Oh, I also have a new divider. Where did it go? I just saw it. I made this yesterday, kind of on the fly in the afternoon, which is the other nice thing about being in filofax, is that it's just so nice and like organic feeling, maybe, to sit up one day from a nap and be like, I need to make a new divider, I have an idea, and then to just do it and then to just slot it in like it's always meant to be there, or like was always meant to be there, and maybe it was. But like it's a really nice feeling. So I made this one. I'll make sure this is in the shop for you, like the other two have been by the time this video goes up, but I just think it's kind of fun. It's about like, I don't know, having obviously a filofax and like all the pages hanging out and just like referencing a lot of different things at once, and then like hanging everything up and being able to see it all together. It's just kind of that kind of feeling. Okay, I also printed my pictures for that article. It's just like, it's pictures of Swanscombe Marsh mostly, which is only like part of the article, but that was what I found for the time being. I'll add those in after. My whole bunch is starting to chew my pages. I don't know if you can see that. I think it's because I put too many pages in. My whole bunch can really only take 5 pages at a time, but because I had 11 pages, I did one set of 5 and one set of 6. And I imagine it's that set of 6 that got chewed up, so it doesn't matter. The nice thing about filofax also is that I'm trying really hard to fight my perfectionist tendencies, and I think filofax is a good medium to support that in a way. Because everything is handmade, you have to be a little bit more relaxed about how perfect things are. Otherwise you would always be having to reprint and rehole punch stuff, like it would never end. Just thinking about where we got to, I think I showed you these. Oh, so at the weekend I went to visit my brother belatedly for his birthday. We went to Bristol for once, and then we went to Bath the next morning, obviously. And it was cute. We went to Frankie and Benny's for dinner, me and Luke. It was really fun. We had like dessert and stuff, and cocktails. It was really silly. And it was nice to hang out with him sort of belatedly for his birthday. We also went to the Holborn Museum. In London I would call it Holborn, but Luke was like, that's not what they call it here, and I was like, okay, weird. So Holborn rather than Holborn, like the tube station, I don't know. Anyway, we went to this museum and it was okay. I would never want to diss a museum, but I did feel a little bit underwhelmed. I shouldn't be surprised, but it was mostly just paintings of like Georgian people from back in the day. It was just like almost all Georgian portraits, which is not my preference. There was a good exhibition on about Gwen John, who was a Welsh artist, so that was cool. We didn't know that was on, it just happened to be there. And then there was some other small bits. There was one about clay. I think it was called Radical Clay, and it was okay. So anyway, it was fine. Probably wouldn't go back. And because it's a charity museum, it's not like run by... I don't know, it's not a free museum, basically it's one you have to pay for, and it was quite expensive really for kind of, I don't know. As I say, I would never diss a museum because I know that a lot of money goes into upkeeping them, but I wish maybe we had done more research before paying to go in because I didn't super love it. I took some photos. This one I took in Bristol, and you can kind of see this graffiti, this big painting. It's graffiti, but it's a phenomenal piece of work, you know? And you could see it in this archway, so I was trying to catch it, and I did. My printer makes everything kind of hazy, but I'm really happy with this photo, just as a note. And then I just have some little personal pages from this week, some details from a painting. And then I have these screenshots. I have a Pinterest board, and to preface it, my Pinterest is almost entirely private, by the way. It's like none of my boards are public, they're all like secret. it's just my quiet place, you know, where I go to think. So it's not something you can really look at. But I have this Pinterest board for like my ideal future life, potentially of like living in or near a bog, or just having a small house and growing a bog garden. And I made a board around it as like a little motivating thing, I guess. And then I printed the screenshots and I layered them up so you can kind of see them. I just think it looks kind of cool, but it does feel a bit silly. I'm not like a manifester by any means. I don't really believe in manifestation, but sometimes it's just fun to be a little silly. So then I guess I have my new divider, which I might as well slot in somewhere randomly. And then I want to organize my blog pages. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 10 somehow. 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so these are now in order and mostly lined up, which is good. So then I think what I'll do first is collect my blog pages into the blog book. We can do that, and then I'll go back and try and do my Commonplace book. Oh, also just as a quick aside, I ordered some glue from Kikuyo directly because the journal shop has been out of my glue sticks for eternity. I don't know if it's because I always come on here and talk about them, but I can't buy them anymore. I'm never sure if it's a coincidence or if that's actually like an impact I'm having, but I ordered these from Kikuyo directly. So previously I had been using the medium glue stick, which is my preference, but they didn't have it. It was out of stock. This is the orange one, which is wrinkle free, which is what I use for gluing my pages. Sometimes people ask me how I get my pages to be not wrinkly. And like not bubbled and stuff, and I use this wrinkle free glue and I smooth it down, and then once it's glued I put it under a stack of books for a couple of seconds, and it only needs like 30 seconds, and then like it should be flat, and that's how I do it. But the wrinkle free glue I feel like is an important part of that. When I ran out before, because I finished 2 of them, like this one is completely finished for the record. Like Kikuyo, if you're watching, please sponsor me, I really need the glue. This one's finished. This one is almost finished. Oh, there is actually more than I thought I had left. Okay, so that's not the end of the world. But I was running out and I was getting nervous, especially because I'm now so dependent on these materials for my filofax. So I had 2 of these, and I have this one, which is the grey/white one. They call it white, but it's very much grey. This one is the super sticky one. This one is the wrinkle free. When I was using my traveler's notebook a few months ago, you might remember that I was having trouble with my stuck down pictures peeling back up all the time, and it was really annoying me. So that was because I was using the wrinkle free glue. So I use these for gluing my pages together and they stay stuck, but then I use this one for gluing photos on top and then it stays stuck. So that's kind of my method. So I was on the Kikuyo website. They have an international shopping site, which is cool, and they didn't have the medium one, so I picked up a small one for traveling because that's something I now have to think about. And then I was like, oh well, I don't want to buy like 10 small ones, even though they're not super expensive, because that feels a bit silly. I'll just get a big one. But look how big this glue stick is. It's really big. When I took it out the shipping bag, I was like, oh, I got 2 of these, so it's gonna be like comical, like me gluing with my giant glue stick. It just tickled me. I thought I would share. That's my glue update. Anyway, okay, organizing blog pages, then we'll loop back around to Commonplace pages, and I will also have to take Commonplace pages out of the existing archive, which is what I was procrastinating doing last week. So luckily things are up to date here. We can start kind of from the beginning. All of my blog pages currently are in my main book, I guess, I don't know what to call it anymore. Oh, I decorated March. I just had some flowers and bugs, and a cake for Luke, so super simple, but that's where I ended up with it. All of this is still up to date. And then the box. Okay, this is where the box start. I'll open this one first, and then I can put these ones over here for a second. Someone let me know as well in the comments that the tip seems to be that you can loosen these up a bit by blowing a hairdryer on them and then flattening them, which makes sense. I was already kind of planning to do that with my my main archive because it came with a funny little bend in the cover, and I was thinking, oh, I can probably just hairdryer that out, but I haven't done it yet. But thank you for the information. I really appreciate it. There was a couple of other things too. I think people mentioned that they were living in humid places and hadn't had any issue with mold, so that's reassuring. I think only a couple of people had mentioned it to me in the past, but it kind of stuck with me as a potential risk. But I'm glad to hear that's not common. And then, do I have more blog pages? I definitely do, I just don't know where. Oh no, these are both journaling ones, okay. And then we have blogs. These pages are about a really specific bog that's local to my family in Wales, or like nearby. And then these pages are about a bog up north that I might try and see. Don't want to get anyone's hopes up. There might be a bog vlog. I don't know. I might visit, I might not. It depends how much time we have and what other people want to do as well. So no promises there, but I am hopeful. And then that's it. This is just a journaling thing, so I could duplicate that if I wanted to, but I think it's fine where it is. Obviously the other side is not bog related. It's something that I could definitely add at a later date if I want to. Okay, so there wasn't actually too much to come out of that. I thought there would be more. I have my book review for Night Terrors now as well, just remembered. That did not free up as much space as I was hoping in here, but it's not the end of the world. Let's swap. It's just, you know, I got a bigger desk, but there still just never seems to be room, and I think it's amazing how that works. I feel like if you are an art person or someone who journals and stuff, it's like cats. You know how cats fill the shape of the container they're in? I feel like art people are the same way. Like the bigger your desk, the more room you have to just put things, and it's like, where did the things come from? No one knows, but you just keep spreading. So it's just a funny little thing. Okay, this is not as full as I thought it was going to be, you know, but it's a strong start for my humble blog book. It's really not very many pages at all. Okay, it's fine. I'm still convinced this binder is slightly misaligned. Some people sent me some links for some other options, but a lot of them had smaller rings, which is annoying because I wouldn't want to have like a lot of them. Like this is already going to be bad enough when I have like 10 of them, but the idea of having to have like 20mm rings and then like 30 binders is probably a bit much. So for now we're still persevering. I do still really like the aesthetic of these, so hopefully if I can just... Why does this feel so misaligned? Pull yourself together, like literally. Okay, maybe it's because it's so underfilled. Like, why does it do that? It leans so far forward or back. Oh, my perfectionism will be the end of me, I tell you. Okay, moving on to my Commonplace book then. I don't have any other articles in my filofax right now, I'm just looking, which means they're all in here at the moment, which is okay. But this is the one that's my nemesis, the one that's always flopping around. For a minute there I thought I actually found mold on my binder and I was like, how in the hell? But it was just fluff, so it's okay. That did spook me. I like had a little like drop in my stomach. This one, my little Commonplace cover. And then I'm sweating nervously. What I'll do maybe is put this to the side for a moment, and then I'll just focus on taking the Commonplace pages out of this one without having a little breakdown. Interestingly, it's not exploding open in the same way today, so we might be saved. And then what I'll do is just carefully decant from one side to the other, which is not thrilling content, so I might stop talking and try and speed you through it. Okay, that's all that's left then in my journal binder. As you can see, it's not masses for like 3 months or whatever it is, but it's kind of nice because I feel like I've spoken about this already, but filofax is really nice for me at the moment because I feel like it's supporting me and offering me structure and stuff, and also freedom creatively in exactly the amounts that I need, like in equal parts. I feel like it's equal parts support and freedom. There's no pressure to write every single day, which is nice because I don't always want to, but I have the endless ability to add in pages when I do really want to, which is really nice, autistically speaking, but also artistically speaking. Obviously as an illustrator and a habitual notebook keeper and journaler and whatever, like to be able to just keep adding and adding and adding and adding and like put them wherever I want is like, it's amazing. Especially because I don't know if I'm always super consistent week to week, like some weeks are definitely quieter than others, or I do less writing because I'm focused on other creative outputs, and it's just nice that this really seems to support that, but then I still have the autistic structure and the references and the routines and stuff that I need. It's really nice, and it's cute too because, not cute, but it's nice too that when I was in bigger books or when I was in bound books, I feel like I would get bored of looking at pages and then I would start wanting to put them away. It was a problem that I really felt when I was in my cousin. By the time I got through September or whatever month it was, I was so sick of seeing my September pages and I really wanted to like put them away somewhere somehow. Obviously not really possible with a bound book, but with this, because I put these away and now when I look back at them, I'm like, oh, these are nice still, you know, like it's really satisfying to be able to flip through them, which is why I'm persevering with these imperfect binders. So the nice thing now is that having taken out those like 4 Commonplace articles that were quite long, I have enough room in here to put my March pages, so I can fit December through March into this one binder, which will be really nice. The time being though, it does mean that all of my binders are kind of underwhelmingly filled. I slotted these ones into here, and there's not many, like it's just a few pages. This one lines up. See the bog book. What is she doing? I might swap them. Just because I might take my bog book away with me and it kind of stresses me out that that's the really floppy one. Maybe it works though because it's the one that's like a field guide. Oh, I don't know. I was gonna say maybe it's upside down, but it can't be upside down, can it? Because it's got a closure. Okay, it doesn't matter. All of these are kind of underwhelmingly filled right now, and I'm trying not to think about it or worry about it because realistically, it was always going to be this way when I first started the archive, which I guess is what this is now. It's like the official archive TM, the gloomy archive, if you will. It was always going to be a little underwhelming when you first start because obviously you've just started. There's no point in rushing to fill it as much as possible. Like I think it's better to wait it out and to let it organically fill up over time. Obviously I put a lot of work into my blog pages the last couple of weeks because I've been feeling really enthusiastic about it, which is fine. Like when you're hyper focused, I think it's fine, but there's no point creating stuff only to fill something, if that makes sense. It just doesn't feel as good. It'll be nice to watch these pile up and then to eventually get to a point when I can do like flip throughs and stuff of them. It'll be very satisfying. There's not too much going on in them right now, but I could do a little flip just for fun. Obviously now in my main book there's not loads going on, it's just the most recent pages that we've seen, which is okay. I'm keeping my book reviews in here all together because I kind of want them all together. I don't want to split them up. I like seeing them all at once. I like being able to see how many books I've read in a year. It's not as satisfying for me to see it monthly because sometimes I take my time reading something. It's March. I'm like on like 1 book a month at the moment. It's very slow. But I keep reading non-fiction and it definitely takes me a lot longer, so we can look at, I guess, the first binder first. Just have a little recap for fun in case anyone's curious how it's looking. Obviously the cover I made that I spoke about last week, I think this is not the final version, actually. I need to reprint it. And then obviously December. That was the first divider. I'm trying to make sure they all match, it's kind of fun. I've also left my little Midori tabs on because I like things to stay relatively intact. I don't like to pull everything off when I archive pages. I I like it to be as it was. I just think it's satisfying, and it still adds to the texture then of when you flip through the binder, the archive, like the tactility of it. I don't want to lose that. So I'm kind of keeping them on there. I still, luckily when you buy them you get like 15 or something. It's quite a lot, and I only ever use 1 or 2 at a time, so I'm not running out yet. I actually just finished rewatching Echo last night because I really liked it. So I watched it again. This little spooky guy. This is February, yeah. Adding a lot of receipts and stuff. Sketchbook pages, little seasonal scraps. Constantine 2005. Birthday cake. I really like that I stuck those photos on the back of this one. That's very satisfying. That's why I did it again for the postcard in the most recent pages. It's nice to layer stuff like that. This is one of my mini Super Sticker Club stickers. When I got them out, they're like foamy, they're like textured. It's really soft. I'm always like in the archive touching it. It's very satisfying. And then my little bog creature. So that's really nice because this is actually the 1st of March as well. So that's cool. So that's the initial folder. And then we can have a look at the bog book if you want to see. I'm really happy with this cover, like irrationally pleased. I think it looks great. It really conveys what I wanted it to convey. It took me a while, a lot of trial and error, but I kind of like working that way. So nice bog with some moss. And then I just have that Nat Geo introduction on bogs because I think it's a nice way to start it, and then just some really lovely moody bog pictures. I also have this little screenshot from Reddit where someone broke down the difference between them, and he talks about explaining it by pH levels rather than by process, which is interesting. I still think in some cases... Oh, no, he's explaining it by process rather than pH, which is what I was going to say. I think that's easier to remember, is how they're related to different forms of water, whether it's like standing water or running water, that kind of thing, salt water. I find that much easier to remember than the whole acidic versus alkali thing. I am getting to a point where I can kind of remember all of it, but it's still hard. I guess the thing with making special interest binders is the chronic memory issues again, right? I talk about this a lot on my channel, but because part of why I have any kind of note-keeping system or notebooks, journals, commonplace books is because I have really bad issues with my cognition and my memory, which is why I ramble so much. It's why I'm so repetitive. I just can't keep information in my head properly. I can read 3 or 4 books about something and I still could not actually infodump out loud to save my life. I can make the filofax infodumps because I have something here to show you and I'm talking about a process that I'm doing. Like it's a lot easier to talk about something practical like that. I can't, as much as I would love to, sit here and talk about bogs for an hour unless I had a reference, which is why I guess I make books, because my brain can't retain it no matter how much I care about it. And it's like, when I was young, I would find it kind of devastating. And then when I got diagnosed with autism, I was really confused as to why I could not seem to do this key thing that the autistic people are meant to be able to do. I can kind of do it on the fly if someone catches me off guard. Like if my dad asks me a question about bogs, I can talk about bogs for 15 minutes and then he's like, okay. But I can't pull it up on demand. Like I have a lot of issues with that kind of thing. It's so hazy up there. I just don't feel like I have a lot of control over what's in my head, I guess. Anyway, so it's really nice to make these little binders and to interact with my interests in that way. Like that's part of why I do it, I think. And then to be able to see that information and to be like, okay, I read all of this. Like I sat down and I made the effort to read about my special interests and I read all of these articles about bogs. And then I know I paid attention because I copied and pasted the words and then I highlighted the text and I underlined things. And then what I normally do as well is go back and add text in the margins, like elaborating on what I've read and stuff and what I think about it. So it's like this way of knowing and being able to see that I understand the material even if I can't access it anymore. And then also giving myself a way to access it again. So I guess that's why it feels so important to me. And I think that's why filofax this time around has been like the most efficient that I've been in a long time as far as my books are concerned. I think it's why I'm still consistent and why I'm not really interested in moving around at the moment again. Like I just feel very content. I'm like, oh, I finally have something that works and that is actually helping. rather than just moving endlessly between a stream of different books chasing the perfect system kind of thing. Turns out sometimes you actually do just have to slow down. Shocked and appalled to find out. But yeah, so this is the Nat Geo stuff, just on the very basics of bogs. It starts talking about the different types of wetlands, and then it goes on to talk about peatlands, and then bog ecology, and then climate change, because that's a big factor in bog stuff, and then bogs and people. So that's specifically bog bodies, but also how people have interacted with bogs over centuries and stuff. And then Crumlin Bog is a bog in Wales near where my family are. And this is a photo from the Crumlin Bog, which is very cool. It turns out that it's actually a site of significance. It's a very cool place. This is a map of where it is up here. This is the bog, and these are the burrows. And then there's also a fen as well, the penny-sized fen. It's very cool. I had no idea. I was like, to my dad, I was like, was anyone actually going to tell me there was an amazing bog? Or was I supposed to find it by myself by accident? Like, it was very... This is the same bog. It has a walkway, which is just... When a bog or a marsh or a fen or any kind of peatland, moorland, wetland has a wooden walkway, I'm like, instantly, that's 10 out of 10. Like, that really gives it a whole different feeling. It's so, like, I love it. So there we go. And then I have this raised bog development infographic that I think is really old. It reminds me of when your teachers would draw stuff on acetate to put under the projector. That's very much the vibe this has. And then Drumba Moss is the bog I will hopefully be able to visit when I go up north. It's in Cumbria. Again, it's a very cool bog. They've done a lot of conservation work and stuff, rehabilitation for it. It's very cool, and it has a walkway, a boardwalk. So I would really like to go, but I'm not sure it'll work out. Try not to put too much hope on it, but I did also make these pages, so it's not going great. Again, the little roundleaf sundew, and then obviously sphagnum moss, my beloved. And then I made notes here about all the different species you can see, plants and insects and stuff, on both sides. And there's also cotton grass. This is a photo of Drumba Moss. I really want to go. You guys, imagine a bog vlog. And then I have a page about Bog Day and a map showing the UK's peatland distribution. It's all from the Bog Day website. It's pretty cool. And then this side is the restoration projects, because there's really big restoration work in the UK to preserve and sort of rehabilitate bogs, which is very, very cool. Obviously they can make a big difference to climate change because they're carbon sinks, so it's like a whole thing. But very exciting stuff. And then the Aquapolis, which is a really funny tongue twister to say, Aquapolis, article, which was really phenomenal. I'll link it in the description. It's really good. A lot of highlighting on and off. Very cool. As I say, it was 10 whole pages, so I'll add those printouts, the little pictures afterwards too. Actually, when I got to the end of this article, I had this whole chunk was blank, so what I did was, because he talks about Swanscombe Marsh quite a lot, I then went onto their website, and I took some more information about Swanscombe specifically, because I found myself quite interested by the end, and I put some more information about it, and there's a photo. It's a really unique place. Again, I would recommend reading about it if you're interested. So that's my little bog book, my little bog book of mundane bog joy. These binders do pick up a lot of like dust and dog hair, just FYI. They're kind of icky, but the aesthetic is kind of unparalleled. And then moving into the Commonplace book, just generally, I'm waiting for some dividers that I ordered from Franklin Covey, as I mentioned. They're Franklin Covey compact size binders, which will fit my pages, because that's what size my pages are. And then I can label them like sleeplessness, I guess, like horror, liminality, you know, all the cool things. So the first article I have in here, they're chronological at the moment because that's how I took them out of my binder, but Zettelkassen, so I guess I'll have a card for things like archiving or like personal knowledge management, I guess would be like a bigger topic. But we've got Zettelkassen notes from Wikipedia, a lot of thoughts on these, and some pictures too and stuff, an example of how it works up here, because I struggle to visualize this without this picture. And then Hotel Melancholia, which was an Aeon article. I find all my best articles on Aeon, to be honest. They're really good. I like that it's more long form think pieces and the topics can be so general. I like it. Hotel Melancholia, which was a lot about like liminality and stuff, and about traveling and the idea of home, that kind of thing. And then I have some stuff about loneliness in here because it covers a lot of that too, so I have all these extra quotes, which is nice. Some of them are from Lonely City by Olivia Lang. I think there's a couple of Franz Kafka ones in there. But again, a really good article. And then Words on Sleep, on Feeling Unreal, on Existing in Between. So this is just a collection of quotes from different people, and then I've got the sources in the side, the margin. I just find them kind of soothing to read through, which is this one, to be fair, because it's all typed, I could make a second copy of this to keep in my filofax, my main book, if I wanted to, because I like to read through them when I'm stressed, so that is an option. It's a lot easier when things are not half and half like this is. This one is fully typed, so I think I might do that. And then I have 6 Ways of Looking at Crip Time, which I linked in a recent video, which is by Ellen Samuels. Really, really good. I've kept that on hand, and I've only written on 1 page because I want to go back through next time I'm working on Everyday Gloom so I can reference it. A lot of it ended up resonating with what I wrote most recently for Everyday Gloom, which was a nice surprise, so I want to kind of go back through and link it. And that's where we're at. I think I had another article that I have bookmarked to put in my main Commonplace book, but I haven't done it yet. The typing up takes quite a long time. That article I did about Dumba Moss, I think, took me like 2 or 3 hours from start to finish, so it is time consuming. But again, it's nice to have that tangible way of interacting with my interests. So that is where we're at. I don't know where I put them now. I don't know where I put them. I ordered, basically, I was going to say, just to finish off, I kind of wanted to talk about how I plan to prep my filofax for travelling. It's not so imperative when I go up north because it's not too far. But when I go to Canada, I feel kind of pressured to make sure I bring what I want to bring. I'm not sure how much downtime I'll have. Like, I'm really confused about the whole thing. But I got some more, like, pockets. These pockets, I got a couple more of them. So that I can pop them in the back or the front, and I can slot stuff in there for the time being. I'll take the small glue stick. I guess maybe I can make a dedicated video about it. If people are interested in that, let me know. Yeah, if you're interested, tell me, and I can make a dedicated video, because otherwise I'm not sure I will. But basically, I've got some pockets. I ordered some more from Franklin Covey because they have some cool looking ones. But I'm not sure how to prep stuff. I guess I'll take some of these pages out to keep them safe at home, and then I'll just take like blank Commonplace pages with me, like a lot of them maybe. And maybe some comforting stuff, some routine stuff, like some little self-care references in case I start to get stressed. But I'll probably take all of these bits out just so that it'll be April anyway, so actually I'll have archived, which is exciting. But I'll take all of this out to keep it safe at home, and then I'll probably start from here and have, yeah, I guess my calendar and just blank Commonplace. I also picked up, I don't know if people still use these. Where is it? I swear to God, I just had it. I picked up a little travel guide and now I can't find it. I was literally just tidying and I had it. Does anyone else have this problem where you just constantly put stuff somewhere safe and then you're like, where did I put it? Where is the safe place? And my room is not very big, so there's like never anywhere for anything to be, but I'm like, where the hell did I put it? I just had it. It's like a little travel guide basically, and it's got a little map in it. It's very small, it's like A6. It's quite cute. I could always photocopy stuff out if I want to, which would be nice, to make a really cool like travel scrapbook. Let me know if you're interested in that kind of content and I can see what I can work out. But I also was thinking about making some pages. You know how like I'm making the autism inserts? I thought about making some for traveling, like a packing list and stuff that I can type up so it's really legible. So I don't know, maybe let me know. I think that's it for today. I just wanted to show you guys that I'm pulling my archive together, and I think I'm really content with it. As I said last week, at the end of the year I might put all of my journal pages, my little journaling archive, into the Franklin Covey binder to free these back up again so I could always reuse them, and that way I'm not always buying too many of them. But I'm not 100%, I'll have to see how I feel. I do still like the idea of having one giant archive, but for flipping through regularly it's not very satisfying. It's kind of hard work because the rings are so tall. But I think that could be a good compromise, is to have these throughout the year, or like for the first 6 months, maybe like 2 or 3 of them, and then once those are full, to decant them into the big archive and then free these back up for the next 3 months. I feel like that makes sense. But we'll have to see. Okay, I think that's everything covered. I will make the Instax comparison video hopefully next week, and do let me know if you're interested in the travel stuff. And then apart from that, can you maybe let me know if you were gonna make special interest binders, just because I'm nosy and really curious, if you were gonna make special interest binders or binders for your interests if you're not autistic, what topics would you cover? Like, what do you care about enough to make a binder about? Because I never thought I would have a book. But I found myself feeling very curious. Please tell me. And apart from that, I hope you will have a lovely weekend and that you're excited about spring. I'm not really, because things start to get stressful for me when it gets warm. But I'm really happy for all of you spring people. I can see everyone online getting really excited and relieved, and I'm glad for you. Okay, I will see you next week.